Hello friends, welcome to JavaEE EJB JPA tutorial. Now you are watching the final part of the video JPA One-to-Many and Many-to-One relation. In this video, we are going to implement the EditEmployee Servlet, and this is the end of the sub-series for JPA relation. Let's quickly review. The previous videos we will review. These are all the prerequisites. These are all our previous sub-series. Here you are not seeing sub-series 1 and 2 because that is a independent sub-series not linked to JPA. But if you want to learn EJP completely, you can watch those sub-series also. In sub-series 1, we talked about stateless session bean. In sub-series 2, we talked about stateful session bean. In sub-series 2, we talked about stateful session bean. And whatever you are seeing here is other sub-series 3 to 7. Now we are at sub-series 8. We started this sub-series by making use of the existing DB schema for pubs, and we picked two tables from there, employee and jobs. Then we made entities for linking to the tables employee and jobs. We created two entities, employees and job, and marked them with a proper annotation one-to-many and many-to-one. We also talked about how Eclipse displays the icon so that you can quickly know what type of join it was. Then we created the employee entity. After creating the entities for employee and job, we created the bin layer, job bin remote, and we added functionality. So add job and query job are to add the employee, and other one will query all the jobs from the database. So that's our first round of implementation. Then we implemented the bean method to persist the employee into the database. That's one side of the join. While we persist the information, we persist the job also. Here we are setting the link, right? So here we tested the many-to-one part of it, N-to-1. After that, we created the create employee JSP form, and on the side you are seeing the JSP form. User will fill the form field data, then they will pick a job as shown here in the lower right corner. The servlet will contact the bean and persist the employee. After that, we diverted to the job side of the relation, and here we added the code in the bean layer to add a new job to the database. Then we created the form. That form contains three simple fields: job description, minimum and maximum experience level. Then we created a servlet which will process this form field data, make or hits the bean layer to persist the job side of the join. Next, we implemented the bean layer function for editing the employee. Then we created a HTML form to get the employee. In the previous video we saw that. After that we created the JSP file which will fetch the employee and populate the form. Now we will go ahead with the servlet processing and end this subseries. So in the doPost method, as usual, we check user clicked the submit. Then we retrieve the information from the form: emp ID, first name, middle name, last name, level, employee level. Then so this is the conversion. Then job, retrieving the job and storing that as an integer. Finally, from our bean layer, we make a call to EditEmployee, supplying all the collected information. So here we get the edited employee and we say employee edited and the ID. So the servlet is simple. It collects information from the form, calls the bean layer, and once a bean layer retrieves, respond back to your browser, IE or whatever it is, with a response. The response here is employee edited, right? Takes input from the form, contacts the bean. Bean will in turn make use of entity manager and do the necessary entity related action on the database, returns the result. The returned result comes back to the servlet. Servlet will send the response back to the browser. Alright, now we will go to the demo and conclude this subseries. Now we need to create a new servlet. Package, we are picking it tube coding example servlet, and class name is EditEmployee servlet. Next, perform post, click on finish. If you see here, when we are implementing the servlet, we are always going with the basics. We don't want to complicate a servlet on JSP side. But if you want to learn deeper knowledge on the servlet and JSP side, and there will be a separate subseries, a separate playlist, and you can look into that playlist to learn more about the servlet and JSP. Here if you see, JSP is plain. In our case, when we implement the plain JSP. And if you want to learn about advanced topic like creating the custom tags and other stuff like that, then you can go with the JSP playlist. There we use the JSTL, Java server faces, creating the custom tag, all the deeper stuff. Here our goal is to learn JPA. That's why we create servlet and we keep that simple so that our learning objective get focused on the JPA side. Alright, this is our EditEmployee servlet, providing the EJP annotation as we are creating the new servlet. Import. So by this time we have done this many times. So the EJB annotation, JavaEE EJB annotation. So since we covered almost 50 videos on this course, if somebody asks at EJP in which package it is there, you may simply say it's in javax.ejb because we imported it many times, right? Likewise, annotations, persistent annotation, all those stuff, by this time you have a good hands-on. Alright, this is from a stateless bean. So in the do post, as already explained in the PowerPoint slide, we added the code employees from tube coding example JPA entity. This is an entity, right? Employee is an entity. Now we will go ahead and test. Code is available in the video description. I would advise you can manually type. After that, you can compare the content with the downloaded code, so to avoid any mistake. So the only difference is when you manually type, you will get the IntelliSense that will be useful, right? So if I start typing all this, the length of the video grows. Alright, now we have implemented this, and we will start the server and check this workflow. Before that, we will pick an employee which was created by us. So these two are created by us, definitely. First, last, first name, last name. Okay, we will edit this employee first, then we will go ahead with the second one. We will add our bean. So far, we have covered 3 workflows. One is adding a new employee and mapping it to an existing job. That's one workflow. The second workflow, adding a new job and then making sure that the newly added job is displayed in the employee creation form, in the combo box, I mean. Now we are going with the third workflow of fetching an employee, then editing the employee. So the editing includes information in the employee or changing the link. That means assigning a new job role. Okay, here we are seeing deployed. Now we will open the IE. And we will display the edit employee. So we need to fetch, right? First last job ID is 2. So Chief Executive Officer, and middle name I am changing it as M to N. First one, last one, Chief Executive Officer. So job level I'm just increasing it to 15, then choosing some other role. So since we haven't displayed the experience demand, we have to go back to the job. Publisher. So 150 to 250. We will choose a publisher here. We will submit the information. Employee edited, and here you can see first one N, last one, and the job ID is changed to 5. We will edit one more employee. So this is the employee, and job ID is 8. To 185, public relation manager. Now we'll go back and refresh the form. We have to go back further, refresh. Here if you see first name, last name. The previous employee what we edited is having the first name as first. Here the name is displayed here, and he is a public relation manager. We will put first two and last two. Middle name, let us keep it as M. Job level 120. We'll choose editor. Job level should be 25 to 100. So I'm choosing 75. I'm not sure it is allowed. Let's try. Okay, it allowed it. There is no constraint. Usually job level will not reduce it, right? Alright, now we will cross check. First two, last two, and the job ID is changed. That's all. We completed with all 3 workflows. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.